It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the season finale of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, Season 1, Episode 6, which was called The Last Time. This is my finale review. We've got a lot to unpack, so stay tuned. We'll be right back with my review. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. First off, the pacing. This finale seemed to be on fast forward, fast-paced, and not in a good way, leaving behind several plot threads from not just this series, but also from Walking Dead, World Beyond, Fear the Walking Dead, and the original show. Stories from other series, which were things like the whole CRM, scientific experiment, the cure, research, tease, Beale's son and being captured in the World Beyond story, the whole Omaha Portland arc, the PPP cart mystery, and stuff from just this series alone as well, like the Echelon briefing, which ended up being what we knew already, even in World Beyond, so it wasn't a blow your mind type of reveal. And last but not least, the much anticipated summit, which didn't even take place. And much more that I won't really go into one by one. But all of these things were left in the air. This lack of resolution gave the impression of a narrative rush, skipping or rushing some potentially rich storylines. The ending's overly optimistic and unrealistic tone struck a conflicting note among many fans, and myself included. The miraculous escape of Rick and Michonne from a massive CRM army, not being even injured, yet alone killed from the ridiculously large explosion, with questionable CGI, I must add, and above that, the chlorine gas that seemed to not impact Rick and Michonne whatsoever. Rick and Michonne only had a cloth on, despite the same type of chlorine gas forcing Michonne and Nat to have to recover for a full year. And Rick surviving that grenade blast that killed 5 walkers. All of these things felt out of sync with the series' established realism. It's this grounded nature that's always been a hallmark of the franchise for the most part, and its absence here was jarring. Like, of course, the zombies themselves are the only unreal or fake thing. That doesn't mean that we should ignore every unrealistic or fake thing that they pull off. The use of Beale, brought to life by Terry Quinn's outstanding performance, was another area that felt lacking. Despite O'Quinn's talent and some great dialogue given to him in this episode, Beale's character was shallow and underdeveloped, resulting in what could have been a complex villain being quickly and easily disposed of. He was teased as being the biggest villain, the Thanos of the universe, comparable to the likes of Negans and Governors of the universe. But he ended up being a massive disappointment, and he was killed with a sword and a knife, despite having a gun. Now, for a military commander, that's just weak. That's weak as hell, and made him look super foolish. Speaking of Beale, I feel like there were some great opportunities to show some flashbacks of Beale's past as he was telling Rick the Echelon briefing. And not just in this episode, but throughout the show. But we got absolutely none of that, and it's so mind-boggling to me why they brought in an A-list character for the amount of screen time he got, given how much of a big bad he was teased to be. Speaking of flashbacks, I thought the uses of flashbacks for key Rick and Michonne moments were overdone. Some worked extremely well, like Beale asking Rick about the worst things he's done, and us getting flashes of the worst things that Rick has done. But some of it was just too much, and it felt useless, and it disrupted the flow of the story. Regarding the broader narrative, this finale suggests we're looking at the series end. and there won't be any season 2. At least when it comes to the CRM as a villain. There's a bittersweetness to this, especially considering the handling of the CRM story, given that it's years in the making and with lots of build-up. In an obvious trade-off, the series chose to prioritize a happy and mostly satisfying conclusion for Rick's character over a more elaborate and comprehensive exploration of the CRM. Now, even though I'm saying happy and satisfying, it was by no means complete. We got the minimal of the minimal as far as even explaining Rick's story, his journey at the CRM, and all of that. This decision, while understandable from a character arc and limited series perspective, led to a significant sacrifice in the depth and intrigue of the CRM plot, which is obviously intertwined with the conclusion of Rick's story. This was particularly noticeable and more disappointing given the similarities to the ending of the other spin off, The Walking Dead World Beyond, which also dealt with the CRM's attempt to destroy Portland. So both of these shows ended the exact same way. If you think about it, it's like the exact same story. One had Rick and Michonne, the other didn't. And they both obviously ended in a similar abrupt and unsatisfying manner. Another thing that bothered me was some of the cheesy and cringy moments and dialogues. Like the love doesn't die during a life or death fight being repeated made it even more incredibly annoying, and the whole I knew you'd come back and the whole I believed you would come back stuff from the kids felt super annoying, especially given Rick's ultra serious response to all of it. It's not all criticism though. The reunion scene, while somewhat expected and cringy at moments, was executed well and provided a fitting closure to Rick and Michonne's story. I would have loved it to be more involved though, like landing in a random field and reuniting with the kids was a bit convenient and confusing. And also, I can't help but feel that an opportunity was missed to delve deeper into the CRM aspect of their journey post Beale's death prior to getting this reunion. Expanding on their involvement could have given us a more nuanced and complete picture. Like, how did the CRM get fully reorganized after we heard it through an announcement or a newscast type of thing? But it feels like what they talked about should have taken months instead of the days that it probably took for it to actually happen. And of course, we should have also seen if Rick was interviewed by the CR government, if he was approached to lead the army or whatever. It was all kind of skipped and a head scratcher for sure. Also, spending some time revealing their journey to find Commonwealth, if that was Commonwealth, since they didn't know about it, could have improved the flow of the story. Like I said, it was just a random field. Where was it supposed to be? And another positive point is the fact that they revealed CRM has spies. So it sort of helps fill in the gaps. Why didn't CRM kill everyone in big communities like Commonwealth? Well, because they probably had spies there, possibly Lance in this case. Of course, the question does come up, well, they didn't do anything when Lance died. So what about that? But I think since the timeline is supposed to be ambiguous, you could get around explaining it with the timeline. But the big question is, what happens to the spies now? And I'm assuming they're just gonna get integrated into whatever community they are a part of. But to sum it up, the finale was a mixed bag. I enjoyed it more the first time watching, but looking back and rewatching parts, it was definitely very unsatisfying and disappointing. Like, if it didn't involve Rick, I could have easily compared it to maybe a mid Fear or World Beyond episode. On one hand, it did a decent but minimal job of concluding Rick and Michonne's story and their journey with some standout moments, but on the other, it felt short in its treatment of the CRM story, sacrificing a richly woven plotline for a neat, if somewhat unfulfilling end to Rick's saga. While it's a standalone episode in its own right, it leaves us yearning for what could have been a more comprehensive and satisfying conclusion to an intricate and long-standing narrative. The happy ending conclusion was expected, but cool and nice to see, but in no way earned by the characters or even explained well enough to be realistic. I would give the episode a 5 out of 10 and probably an overall 6 out of 10 rating for the entire series. And on that note, I think although the first two episodes and part of the finale gave us high budget Hollywood movie vibes, the rest of the episodes were somewhat all over the place, and some even felt as if they could have been eliminated altogether. Like they could have easily been bottle episodes in the original Walking Dead season structure. And obviously, that didn't help having a well paced season altogether. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through in this video. That's my review of the finale of The Ones Who Live. I'm interested to know your thoughts and opinions, so share that in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.